What's up, average viewers? Stranger Things Season 4 has hit Netflix. Is it as good as the other seasons, or has the whole show turned upside down? Stick around to find out. You guys, I absolutely love Season 4 of Stranger Things, and speaking of love, I'm 100% convinced that Will is in love with Mike. I mean, first of all, we have Season 3 when Mike tells him this.
It's not my fault you don't like girls.
Then in Season 4, Will has gotten into painting. Elle thinks it's for a girl, but Will takes it to the airport when Mike gets there, and it's super awkward.
How you doing? What's that?
It's nothing. It's just this painting I've been working on.
Cool.
Then we have the scene where he pulls away awkwardly from this footsie encounter.
I goes, and we like to watch Miami Vice on Fridays.
Which, I mean, maybe you would do if you were straight, but then look at this fabulous walk. Finally, the cherry on top, who is Will's historical hero? None other than Alan Turing, the computer scientist and mathematician most known for the Turing machine and for being gay, famously portrayed in The Imitation Game by Benedict Cumberbatch, or, as I like to call him by drag name, Temptation. Obviously, that doesn't mean he's gay. I mean, if he chose Martin Luther King Jr. as his hero, that wouldn't make him black, right? Right? However, I think that we've made a pretty good case for the fact that he's gay. Even if the court dismissed some evidence, I think the jury's gaydar would still be tingling. Anyway, I'm sure we'll find out maybe at the end of this season, or maybe they'll save it for season 5, but I'm pretty sure they've been building to that. I don't know, I trust the creators of this show. Speaking of the creators of this show, we must give credit where credit is due, and just give a round of applause to the Duffer brothers for the amazing show that they are pulling off here. You can tell that they have full creative control. Netflix is not pulling the chain or nagging them. They know exactly how to take care of these characters and give us what we want while keeping their arcs interesting. I haven't seen a show like this in so long where you can literally rave about every aspect of the show. It's top tier TV. Heck, it's even up to Hollywood blockbuster standards, which aren't very high nowadays. But still, you could release each of these episodes in a theater and it would blend in with the rest of the movies. Actually, that's a lie. It would fit in as a movie, but it would stand above the rest. This is just better. The story is crafted so well. The Duffers know how to pace a story, and they know how to be serious and scary and hilarious. So much of the show is quotable and could be memeified. Like, basically anytime Dustin says anything, it's a meme.
Shooting the shit.
The fact that there are moments like this just shows how in touch the Duffer brothers are with content creation. Not only are they making S-tier content for Gen Z millennials, and let's be honest, every generation, they are also nailing the feel of the 80s, or at least the idea of the 80s. I watched the show with my parents and I ask a lot of things to verify if that was their experience, and more often than not, they are saying yes, or they're singing along with songs or pointing out nostalgia moments. As with all seasons, there is some heavy influence from movies of that era. If I had to throw my pennies in, I would say that this season is inspired by Nightmare on Elm Street and The Exorcist. Now, that's cheating a little bit because they actually reference Freddy Krueger in the show, but that's all the more reason to say that it was definitely inspired by it. This is a good time to take a quick minute to just warn you that this season takes the horror and gore and disturbing imagery and takes it up a notch. And by up a notch, I mean that if you were watching the other seasons with your family or smaller kids, you really might not be able to pull that off anymore. The way that the villain kills in this show is just much more graphic and horrifying. It's really shocking and intense. Not only that, but there's a lot more blood. And a lot of the time it's coming from dead children, which can be disturbing. In fact, most deaths that occur in this season are underage kids, which can be a trigger warning for you, as well as the fact that this show deals heavily with trauma and abuse and can be triggering for some viewers. I will just say that I think they handled it really tactfully, and I don't believe that everything is shown excessively to get a rise out of us. I think the Duffer brothers are so meticulous in their process. I just have to say that I think the show is definitely becoming one for mature audiences. Speaking of mature, you guys, our cast has definitely grown up, not only in age, but also in acting ability. But yes, for all you creeps out there, you can officially and legally have a public crush on Millie Bobby Brown. Just keep me and everyone else out of it. Call me a simp, but for me personally, I'm more of a Natalia Dyer kind of guy. But even that's not because I'm into her. It's because I'm into Timothée Chalamet, and they kind of look alike. Seriously though, these kids have always been charming and awesome on screen, but now they have the ability to be on par with some bigger names in the industry, especially Sadie Sink as Max. If you ask me, she took a step up and had to have a really nuanced performance portraying trauma and guilt and grief and some regret and growth. Caleb McLaughlin as well had to show like believing he wanted popularity, but you could see there was something in him that just wanted to be a nerd with his friends, and he's sort of playing like a double agent. Really good performance. Can I just say how much I love Joseph Quinn as Eddie? He is honestly my new favorite character character. He stepped right into the show and fit in with characters we already know and love without making it all about him, but somehow stealing everyone's affections in every scene he's in. He played the character so well, you totally see the delinquent side that everyone thinks he is, and which parts of that he does embrace, like the rock side and the drug side. But actually, he's super sweet and sensitive guy who's pure and caring and charming and funny. It's such a great performance. I would highlight every performance because I think they're all just so great. I love Robin, I love Steve, I love Dustin, I love Murray and Hopper. If I had to pick my least favorite characters in this season so far, it would be pretty much everyone stuck in California right now. Mike, Will, Jonathan, etc. They are a little more one note and a little bit whiny and boring, but I'm gonna be honest, I think it's because the California storyline right now is certainly the weakest in the show, and it feels like a side quest in a video game that you might not want to be doing, but it's just sort of happening. And so that might be why I'm not loving these characters right now, is because I'm not in love with their story arc right now, if that makes sense. It's not bad, it's just in a show that's trying to do so much, you'll have a few storylines that are weaker than others. That's just how it is. While on the subject of weak storylines, I thought I didn't like where the Hopper storyline was going, and it suddenly grew on me until I realized I was wanting to see more and more of Russia and everything that was going on there. Same with the Elle storyline. I was kind of like, where's this going? And then it found its stride for sure and gave us some amazing content. One thing I want to point out about this show is how amazing it is at cross-cutting. In the first episode, you have the great scene where Jonathan and Nancy are talking about each other to other people, and all the sentences are perfectly cut together to make a cohesive dual conversation. It's so cool. Then you have the basketball scene cross-cutting with the D&D campaign, and it's just brilliant how they took the two settings that could have been boring to watch and combined them together to create one of the most suspenseful and well-cut scenes I've ever seen, period. The way they roll the die and then the basketball misses and Eddie calls that a miss, it's so funny. I also want to call Disney out on their crap for a second. They think audiences automatically reject strong, powerful women, especially when they're black, because they're sexist and racist. Well, I beg to differ.
That's just bullshit media propaganda.
When Erica came on screen in this scene, my all-white family literally cheered and laughed and hooped and hollered. We revved up our trucks and shot our guns in the air, blasted our country music, and shotgunned a beer to celebrate. Erica is a sassy black girl who completely dominates the room and takes charge and leadership over any man she's with, and does so as a middle schooler, and yet we still like her. Disney, how strange. Maybe it's because she's a likable character, well written and well performed, and it takes place in a show that isn't complete garbage. Maybe you should focus on creating a good show before pointing fingers. What else? The CGI is great. I mean, it's basically Hollywood level, except there are maybe one or two times where it looks like TV CGI, but honestly, it didn't take me out of the show. The show is scary, but still not scary to the point where people who hate horror can't watch it or watch it alone. The makeup is amazing. The big baddie looks incredible. I love the way he looks. Also, the way the story came together in episode 7 is absolutely bonkers good. I mean, I was blown away with how everything connected and came together, and the origin of the bad guy is seriously so good, and they ended it at just the right moment to answer enough questions and keep us curious for the last 2 episodes. I was actually kind of mad because I read June 1st and it's actually July 1st, and I was not very happy about that. You guys, just to end off, like I've been saying, this show is just top tier. You have amazing talent making this show. They are giving their whole hearts and souls to making this season. They aren't cutting corners or taking the lazy route because it's TV. The cinematography is a wonder to look at. The effects, both practical and digital, are amazing. Every single character is handled with care and have their moment to shine. The soundtrack is nostalgic. The original score by Kyle Dixon and Michael Steen is unlike anything else you can find and so perfect in tone. The sound in this show should win an Oscar. The sound design is incredible. This show gets so many things right, and other than a few storylines that don't captivate me as much as others, I don't have anything bad to say. I have to go rewatch the other seasons, but honestly, this is kind of building up to be my favorite season so far. We can fight it out in the comments. Let me know what your favorite season is so far. Am I crazy for thinking this season is so good? Do you like Eddie as much as me? Who's your favorite character so far in this season? As always, please like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep making these videos for you. As always, Dad, thanks for watching, and the rest of you, stay average.